Thank you for joining us here at Indigo Moon. You know, my spiritual advisor taught us how to really begin to think about your thoughts. Figure out if those thoughts are going to be positive or negative. Figure out where they actually stand in your demeanor. Do you want to keep the same type of thinking going on? And if you do, is it going to be positive or negative? There was a woman who continued to think negative thoughts, always thinking other people were doing things, and she always decided that she was going to work against these people, spiritually, as well as working with the dark arts. But she had keloids on her skin. And every time she worked against other people, those keloids got bigger and bigger. And other people who were thinking more positive thoughts, their keloids were disappearing. You see, keloids also deal with emotions. Now, some people might not think this. They might not even know it. When you get a keloid, and a keloid is really skin that the brain as well as the scar communicate in a way where the scar will overheal itself, because the brain is telling it, or it's telling the brain, whichever way you want to look at it, that the scar is not healed. So it's consistently, trying to heal itself. You have to be very careful when you have keloids, because if you are constantly trying to work against another individual, that overhealing will continue, and it might get worse and worse. Now, some people say the scar tissue, if you go to a dermatologist, which I am not, if you go to a dermatologist, they will tell you, different ways in which you might be able to get it small, make it smaller or otherwise. But you have to realize that anytime you work against someone else in a negative way, it doesn't come back to you in a positive way. It only comes back the way that you dished it out. In fact, it's worse. I know a woman who her keloid used to move. And again, if it's healing, if it's not healing, then you have to change your own perspective. We are human beings, but we have other gifts. There are ways in which you can help heal yourself, internally as well as externally, depending on your mind frequency. A lot of people are if you're constantly thinking about how you can hurt another individual, that's not going to come back to you positively. There's this guy in high school now, he has a lot of keloids, and the kids tease him and he feels bad about himself. They're getting larger. Only way to really change that, because you can go ahead and you can get it cut or whatever, but certain surgeries might work against it. And you have to also look at how this works. My mother had a keloid in the back of her ear, and she kept messing with it till it got larger and larger. She stopped dealing with it altogether, and she started refocusing. It stopped growing altogether. It just stayed. You've got to realize that you have more power over yourself than you think you do. But if you continue to always look outside of yourself, you'll never find the answer. Let us begin to hone in on what we do have and not what we don't. And then perhaps that will be a great start to the true healing power within. We've got to learn to love ourselves. So long as we continue to try to hurt others or think negative about others and always doing something against others, we don't heal that way. So let us begin the process. Thank you so much for joining us here at Indigo Moon.